Cristiano Ronaldo was never supposed to last this long. Not at this level. Not under this much pressure. Not with the entire football world watching his every move for over 2 decades. And yet somehow, he's still here. Still scoring goals. Still training like a man possessed. Still walking into stadiums with thousands of people screaming his name like he's larger than the sport itself. Because Cristiano Ronaldo was never just a football player. He became something far stranger than that. An obsession. A machine. A man so terrified of being ordinary that he spent his entire life trying to outrun time itself. Football has seen great players before. Geniuses. Artists. Natural-born talents who made the game look effortless. But Ronaldo was different. He built himself. Every sprint. Every muscle. Every free kick. Every jump. Every goal celebration. Every sleepless night staring at the ceiling wondering if somebody else was working harder than him. That's what made him dangerous. Not just the goals. Not just the trophies. Not even the Ballon d'Ors. It was the obsession. The terrifying feeling that Cristiano Ronaldo could never truly relax because somewhere deep inside him, there was still a skinny kid who felt poor, unwanted, and not good enough. And maybe that's why he became so relentless. Because for Ronaldo, football was never just football. It was survival. This is a man who scored over 900 career goals. A man who conquered England, Spain, and Italy. A man who turned the Champions League into his personal kingdom. A man whose celebration became more famous than entire football clubs. But behind all the screaming crowds, behind the arrogance, behind the confidence, there was always another side to Cristiano Ronaldo. The lonely side. The insecure side. The side that could never stop proving himself. Even when he became the most famous athlete on the planet, it still wasn't enough. He wanted more goals, more trophies, more records, more control over his own body, more years at the top, more proof that he belonged above everyone else. And that obsession made him legendary. But it also came with a cost. Because the higher Ronaldo climbed, the more impossible it became to stay there. The pressure got heavier. The criticism got louder. The ego became bigger. And eventually, time started catching up to him. For the first time in his career, the world began asking questions Cristiano Ronaldo never wanted to hear. Was he finished? Was he too old? Had football finally moved on without him? But before the fame, before Real Madrid, before the Champions League nights and the global superstardom, Cristiano Ronaldo was just a child growing up on a tiny island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. A boy with ripped football shoes, a broken family, and a dream so big it would eventually consume his entire life. By the time Cristiano Ronaldo reached his 30s, he was no longer just a footballer. He had become an industry. Everywhere he went, cameras followed. Entire stadiums changed atmosphere the moment he stepped onto the pitch. Kids copied his haircut. Athletes copied his training methods. Defenders feared the humiliation of becoming another clip in his highlight reel. Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't simply famous anymore. He became football's biggest global obsession. Millions of people woke up every morning checking his goals, his records, his body, his statistics, his celebrations, his interviews, even the way he walked into stadiums. Every move felt calculated. Every expression felt intentional. Because Ronaldo understood something very early in his career. Football wasn't just about talent anymore. It was about power, presence, aura, and nobody controlled their image better than Cristiano Ronaldo. At Real Madrid, he transformed into something almost unnatural. Seasons that should have been impossible became normal for him. 50 goals, 60 goals, hat-tricks in Champions League knockouts like they meant nothing, bicycle kicks that looked fake, headers that defied physics, big moments that somehow always seemed to find him. And the terrifying part was that Ronaldo never looked satisfied. Not after winning Ballon d'Ors, not after breaking scoring records, not after becoming Real Madrid's greatest scorer. Most players dream of reaching the top. Ronaldo reached the top and immediately started searching for another mountain to climb. That's what separated him from almost everyone else. The obsession never stopped. While other superstars relaxed after victories, Ronaldo trained. While teammates celebrated, Ronaldo recovered. Ice baths, strict diets, endless sprint sessions, hours in the gym, repeating movements over and over until his body became more machine than human. Some teammates admired it. Others thought it was insanity. But to Ronaldo, slowing down was dangerous. Because slowing down meant somebody else could catch him. And there was always one shadow following him everywhere. Lionel Messi. For over a decade, football turned into a global war between two men. Every goal mattered. Every trophy mattered. Every Ballon d'Or became another battle in a rivalry that pushed both players beyond normal limits. Messi had the natural genius. Ronaldo answered with obsession. And maybe that rivalry created the most dangerous version of Cristiano Ronaldo the world would ever see. But long before the private jets, the millions, the sculpted physique, and the global fame, Ronaldo was just a lonely child growing up on a small island called Madeira, a boy carrying pain far bigger than football. Long before Cristiano Ronaldo became the most recognizable athlete on the planet, he was just a skinny kid running through the narrow streets of Madeira with a football at his feet. Madeira wasn't the center of football. It was a small Portuguese island sitting alone in the Atlantic Ocean, surrounded by cliffs, storms, and hard lives. Tourists saw beauty there. Ronaldo saw escape. His family didn't have much. The apartment was tiny. The money was always tight. Sometimes there barely seemed to be enough space to breathe, let alone dream about becoming a global superstar. His mother worked exhausting jobs to support the family. His father worked as a kitman at a local football club, struggling with alcoholism while trying to hold everything together. Ronaldo grew up surrounded by noise, stress, and uncertainty. And from a very young age, football became the only thing that made sense to him. Not school, not stability, not comfort. Football. The streets of Madeira became his first stadiums. The concrete roads, the tiny pitches, the rough games against older kids, that was his real academy. He played constantly, morning, afternoon, night. If there was a ball nearby, Ronaldo was chasing it. And even as a child, there was already something unusual about him. He hated losing. Not normal childhood frustration, real anger, real tears. If his team lost, he would cry. If someone mocked him, he remembered it. If another player looked better than him, it stayed in his head for days. Some people thought he was too emotional. Others thought he was arrogant. But underneath all of it was insecurity. Ronaldo desperately wanted people to believe he was special before he even fully believed it himself. At school, kids mocked his Madeira accent when he spoke. They laughed at how skinny he was. Some coaches thought he had talent, but not enough physicality to survive at the highest level. He looked too fragile, too emotional, too obsessed. But obsession was already becoming part of his identity. While other children played football for fun, Ronaldo played like his entire future depended on it. Because deep down, maybe he knew it did. Everything changed when Sporting Lisbon noticed him. Suddenly, the impossible dream started becoming real. But there was a price. At just 12 years old, Cristiano Ronaldo had to leave Madeira behind and move alone to Lisbon, over 600 miles away from his family. No mother, no father, no friends, no home. Just a terrified boy carrying a suitcase and a dream too big for his own life. And for the first time, Cristiano Ronaldo realized something brutal. Talent alone was not going to save him. Lisbon changed Cristiano Ronaldo forever. The moment he arrived at Sporting's academy, the dream stopped feeling magical. It became survival. For the first time in his life, Ronaldo was completely alone. The other kids immediately noticed he was different. His thick Madeira accent made him an easy target. Some teammates laughed when he spoke. Others mocked how emotional he was. He cried when he missed his family. He cried after bad performances. He cried because the pressure felt unbearable for a 1-2-year-old child living hundreds of miles away from home. There were nights when he wanted to quit. Nights when Madeira felt impossibly far away. But loneliness did something dangerous to Cristiano Ronaldo. It turned his insecurity into obsession. If people laughed at him, he trained harder. If someone looked more talented, he stayed longer after practice. If coaches criticized him, he memorized every word. While other academy players rested, Ronaldo worked. Hours practicing stepovers alone. Sprint training after sessions ended. Shooting drills until sunset. Repeating movements over and over until his legs burned. He became addicted to improvement. Not because it was healthy, because he was terrified of failure. And slowly, the people around him started noticing something frightening. Cristiano Ronaldo was improving faster than everyone else. His body got stronger. His speed became explosive. His confidence became louder. And his ego started growing alongside his talent. Some teammates admired him. Others found him exhausting. Because Ronaldo didn't just want to win. He wanted to prove he was better than everybody else in the room. That mentality followed him everywhere. At Sporting, coaches saw a teenager with outrageous ability, but dangerous selfishness. He dribbled too much, shot too often, tried to embarrass defenders instead of making simple decisions. But Ronaldo didn't care. He wanted attention. He wanted dominance. He wanted people to remember him. And then, just as everything finally seemed to be coming together, his career nearly ended before it truly began. Doctors discovered Ronaldo had a serious heart condition. His heartbeat was dangerously irregular. At any moment, the game he loved could have been taken away from him completely. Surgery was required immediately. For a young player whose entire identity already revolved around football, the fear was crushing. But even that couldn't slow him down for long. Only days after surgery, Ronaldo was already thinking about returning to training. That was the moment the obsession became undeniable. Football was no longer just his dream. It had become who he was. And not long after recovering, Cristiano Ronaldo delivered the performance that changed his entire life forever. Sporting Lisbon faced Manchester United in a pre-season friendly. By the end of the night, Sir Alex Ferguson and Manchester United's players walked into the dressing room saying the same thing. They had just seen football's next superstar. Cristiano Ronaldo was only 18 years old when he walked into Manchester United wearing the most dangerous shirt number in football. Number 7. The number of legends. George Best, Eric Cantona, David Beckham. And now this skinny teenager from Madeira was supposed to carry that legacy into the future. Even Ronaldo himself was shocked when Sir Alex Ferguson handed him the shirt. He didn't think he was ready for that kind of pressure yet. But Ferguson saw something in him that most people still didn't fully understand. Not just talent. Hunger. The kind of hunger you cannot teach. At first, England was brutal. The Premier League defenders kicked him relentlessly. Fans mocked his stepovers. Pundits called him flashy, selfish, overrated. Some people thought he cared more about looking good than actually winning matches. And honestly, early Ronaldo sometimes looked exactly like that. Too many tricks. Too much showing off. Too much emotion. But beneath the frustration, something terrifying was developing. Every criticism made him stronger. Every bad performance stayed trapped inside his head for weeks. Ronaldo replayed mistakes obsessively. Missed chances haunted him. Bad games felt personal. Most young players lose confidence under pressure. Ronaldo became addicted to proving people wrong. Sir Alex Ferguson protected him through all of it. While critics complained about the tricks and selfishness, Ferguson focused on something else, Ronaldo's mentality. Because no matter how rough the performance looked, Ronaldo never hid. He always wanted the ball again. Slowly, the chaos started turning into control. The step-overs became more dangerous. The speed became unstoppable. The finishing improved. The body got stronger. The confidence became overwhelming. And suddenly, the same player people once laughed at was destroying Premier League defenses. Old Trafford transformed into his stage. Crowds exploded every time he touched the ball. Defenders backed away in panic. Free kicks became events. Big matches became opportunities instead of pressure. Then came the transformation that changed everything. Cristiano Ronaldo stopped trying to be entertaining. He started trying to be inevitable. Goals replaced tricks. Efficiency replaced chaos. Dominance replaced potential. And by 2008, the impossible had happened. The crying kid from Madeira had become the best player in the world. 42 goals in a single season. Premier League champion. Champions League winner. Ballon d'Or winner. Cristiano Ronaldo was no longer football's future. He had become football's new king. But across Spain, another player was rising at the exact same time. A quiet genius named Lionel Messi. And together, they were about to push each other into football immortality. When Cristiano Ronaldo arrived at Real Madrid in 2009, football changed overnight. The transfer fee was world record-breaking. The pressure was unimaginable. And the presentation at the Santiago Bernabeu looked less like a football signing and more like the arrival of a global superstar entering another dimension. Over 80,000 fans packed the stadium just to watch him walk onto the pitch. That's when it became clear. Cristiano Ronaldo was no longer simply an athlete. He had become an event. But Madrid was different from Manchester. At United, Ronaldo became a superstar. At Real Madrid, he became obsessed with becoming immortal. Because waiting for him in Spain was the greatest rival football had ever seen. Lionel Messi. Every week turned into war. One scored a hat-trick, the other answered immediately. One won the Ballon d'Or, the other came back stronger the next season. Football stopped debating who was great. The debate became, who was greater? And that rivalry created the most ruthless version of Cristiano Ronaldo imaginable. This was the era where Ronaldo stopped looking human. The goals became absurd. 50 a season. 60 a season. Champions League nights where entire defenses collapsed trying to stop him. And somehow, the bigger the pressure became, the calmer Ronaldo looked. That's what terrified people. He wanted the biggest moments. Late knockout games. Hostile stadiums. Final minutes. Penalty shootouts. Impossible comebacks. While other players feared pressure, Ronaldo fed on it. But behind the scenes, his life became a cycle of relentless discipline. Strict diets. Ice baths. Recovery sessions. Endless gym work. Sprint training. Sleep schedules controlled down to the minute. Teammates were stunned by how far he pushed himself. Some said he trained harder after scoring hat-tricks than after bad games. Because Ronaldo wasn't competing against defenders anymore. He was competing against decline. Against aging. Against weakness. Against the fear that one day the machine would slow down. And maybe that fear explains why he became so relentless. Because deep down, Ronaldo knew something uncomfortable. Lionel Messi had natural genius. So Ronaldo decided to build himself into something else entirely. A weapon. His body transformed. His jumping ability looked impossible. His movement inside the box became surgical. He evolved from a flashy winger into one of the deadliest goal scorers football had ever seen. And then came the trophies. Champions League after Champions League. Historic comebacks. Legendary knockout performances. Moments that felt almost scripted by Hollywood. The bicycle kick against Juventus. The hat-trick against Atletico Madrid. The impossible headers. The screaming celebrations under the brightest lights in football. Cristiano Ronaldo turned the Champions League into his personal kingdom. But for all the arrogance, all the confidence, all the flexing and celebrations, there were still moments when the mask slipped. Like Euro 2006, when Ronaldo collapsed injured in the final for Portugal, tears pouring down his face as he realized his dream might disappear in the cruelest way possible. And for once, the machine looked human again. For years, Cristiano Ronaldo made football look like a game he could control through pure willpower. Age didn't seem real for him. While other players slowed down in their 30s, Ronaldo kept scoring, kept training, kept transforming his body into something that barely looked natural anymore. Every season felt like another statement to the world. I'm not finished yet. But eventually, time comes for everyone. Even Cristiano Ronaldo. And for the first time in his career, football began looking at him differently. Not as the future, not as the unstoppable machine, but as an aging superstar, refusing to let go. His return to Manchester United was supposed to be a glorious homecoming. Fans dreamed about one final chapter. Old Trafford erupted when he walked back onto the pitch wearing red again. At first, it felt magical. Late winners. Champions League goals. Vintage celebrations. For a moment, it almost looked like the old Ronaldo had returned. But underneath the emotion, Cracks were already forming. The game around him had changed. Football had become younger, faster, more aggressive. Teams pressed constantly now. Managers demanded intensity from every player on the pitch. And for the first time ever, Cristiano Ronaldo could no longer dominate games physically the way he once did. The frustration started showing. Angry reactions, arguments, public criticism, tension with coaches, tension with teammates. Then came the interviews, the headlines, the media war, the feeling that Ronaldo was fighting everyone around him, his club, the press, modern football itself. Some people called him selfish, others called him finished. But maybe the hardest truth for Ronaldo was something even worse. For the first time in his life, he was no longer untouchable. The 2022 World Cup only made the pain heavier. This tournament was supposed to be one final masterpiece. One last chance to stand above football again before the next generation completely took over. Instead, Portugal slowly moved away from him. Younger players carried the energy. The system no longer revolved around him. And eventually, one of the most iconic players in football history found himself sitting on the bench during the biggest matches of his life. That image shocked the world. Cristiano Ronaldo, benched. The same man who spent 2 decades dominating football suddenly looked vulnerable, human, emotional, older. And when Portugal were eliminated by Morocco, Ronaldo walked down the tunnel alone in tears. No celebration, no cameras around him, no dramatic speech, just silence. It felt like the ending of an era, because for the first time ever, Cristiano Ronaldo could not outrun time anymore. But even then, he still refused to stop.